I'm going to do a walkthrough of a level that I did not assign in this class. And this is the last level of information disclosure. And so basically, one of the things with websites is websites are often version controlled in Git. So like you would, in GitHub pages, you would have a repository, a Git repository with all of your elements for your web page. And then you would commit and push to the changes that you want made on that site, and it would be rendered from the web server. Now, one of the things about Git, you didn't sort of poke around and look at how Git is implemented. There's a directory in your Git repo that's basically labeled .git, and it's got the entire history of your repository, all your repository's information from the beginning of the repository's lifetime is stored in that .git directory. In fact, when you do a push, you're basically synchronizing the repository that's local into the remote GitHub. So if you have left your .git repository directory open for people to access, then people are able to access the history of your repository. And if you have made a mistake, like committing an API key into your repository, then that API key can be accessed by anybody who goes and visits the /git directory on your website. So this particular lab is one of those. It's got a website, and the website happens to have a /.git directory, and you basically directly access it. But the problem with it is that you want to actually download the entire Git repository. You don't want to manually navigate using the web browser all of the different assets in that Git repo. It'll take you forever to go through. And if you've ever looked into a Git directory, it's like illegible. It's really hard to deal with. So what you want to do is download that entire .git repository all at once. And that's the solution for this particular level, is to write a program to download that entire directory, to recursively write a crawler that efficiently downloads all of the assets in the /.git directory. And then when it's local, you can then run Git commands, navigate the repository as you would using the command line Git tool. That's what we're going to do. And this really allows you to not only demo the replit, but to show you how you would use Python requests, really create a reasonable sized application. That's what I'm going to walk through. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to visit the lab itself. It takes a while to start up the level itself. And so assuming you have created an account and logged in, then when you hit access to the lab, I'm going to open this up in a new page as it starts to load. And so it tells you that lab discloses information via the version control history, and then you have to find the password for administrator and then log in and delete Carlos's account, which is usually the goal. I think in most of these authentication levels is to delete his account. In fact, this happens so much in this Web Security Academy that you can actually buy a t-shirt that has, I forget what the t-shirt has. It says, I deleted Carlos's account or something like that. It's kind of funny, but I don't think anybody would understand that joke except for the people in this class. So your mileage would vary. So this is the UI for most of the levels in Web Security Academy. And so this is a real live application, right? Like this is, if you view the page, it's written in a modern development paradigm. It's got, it's really, production quality, I guess, programming of the website. Although if there are web developers out there and they disagree, I mean, I wouldn't be able to argue with you anyway. But hey, this is way better than the exercises I used to have this class do. Like the exercises we used to do were really, they were all jQuery based. And you would never see that kind of code, well, not never, but you you wouldn't come across it very often. So that's the level. So this is our site. And so now what I want to do is I want to actually go and, oh no, I don't want to leave that. Sorry. So what this does is this sets up so much like Replit sets up a container that's got an environment specific view. On PortSwigger's Web Security Academy, it's actually bringing up a container on an ephemeral container on a real server that PortSwigger is hosting. So they are footing the bill for a short-term server that they will run for you to attack. So if you eventually are in a position to send money back to PortSwigger, hopefully, remember this, we're doing this, we're freeloading off of PortSwigger. Try and buy their Burp Suite tool if you have money eventually. So this is basically a program that downloads the Git repository, and I want to walk through this program just to get you used to let's see here, program. I want to make sure you can see the entire program in a single page. All right, I'm going to have to. What is going on here? Oh, there we go. Okay, this is the entire program. And I want to walk through it. So we already launched the site. The first thing is that every time you launch a site on PortSwigger, it's got a unique URL that is custom for you. And so this URL is hard to find, so that you're in no danger of other people solving your level for you. Obviously, this is a public website. Like if you broadcast this URL, like if you give me this URL, I could solve it for you, but that's basically what's happening. And so the first thing that this program does is it has you configure, well, what site am I attacking? So that's what this is. And then, so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about here. So here is your website, say it's version controlled. If I append a .git, you can see that, oh, look at this, is a Git repo. And it's got all of this stuff here. And it's got all of these objects here. And you see there's a bunch of garbage here. I want to be able to download, and you can see it downloaded something here. I want to be able to download all of this all at once. And so that is what this program is going to do. So I say, well, give me a pointer to the site. And I'm going to use a session object to do this navigation. I actually don't necessarily need the session object, but I think it's good form to just go with the session object. And then I have two things. I have a set that says which URIs of the Git repo have I visited. You don't want to crawl the same content multiple times. And because you're eventually going to, one of the things with your Git, there's always, when you get into the subdirectories, there's always a link to the directory just above. And so you don't want to actually have to recrawl the .. directory because it's already been crawled before. So that's one of the things that we're going to do, is we're going to keep track of a set of the URIs that I've already visited. And then there's going to be a huge list eventually of all the URIs I need to visit. And so when I visit this, initially, there's only one URI that I know about, and that's the URI of the top level Git repo. And initially, I want to get this thing, and then I'll see a bunch of links. I want to take all of these links, and I want to add it to the list of URIs that I need to visit. Okay, so that's what the next thing is doing. So while I still have URIs to visit, I am going to pull out a URI to retrieve. And so I do that by just popping the URI from this list. And then I'll say what I'm getting, and then I will go ahead and get that URI. So one of the things that I'm doing here, this F is so Python has a bunch of different strings. One of the most convenient kinds of strings in Python is what we call an F string, or a formatted string. And this allows you to construct a string that has the parameters built in. And these parameters are actual variables you have defined earlier in your program. So this is how I construct the actual URL to this particular site. And then I append it with the path, and the path is given to me as the current URI. So this constructs the URI that I actually am going to get right here. So it's going to construct that URI up at top. And then it's going to parse the response, and then it's going to find all of the embedded links. And then for every link that I'm given, I'm going to get the href, which is the embedded href tag for that link. And I want to make sure that if the link has not been visited before, so if it doesn't show up in a set of URIs that I already visited, and if the URI has the .git in it, because I only want the content that is in the .git directory, I am going to append this link into the list of URIs that I need to get. So that's the next part of this thing. Oh, shoot, sorry. No, I got ahead of myself. All right, sorry. I'm going to add this URI to be URIs visited. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get that URI. And there are two parts after I go and get this URI. There are two parts to what I'm going to do next. So when you get a directory, you are given an HTML response. And actually, I can do this by inspecting this page. One of the things that happens when I get a directory is in the network, if you look at the branches directory, the response header has a content type of text HTML. You'll see that the content type is different when I'm actually getting a object. So if, for example, I get an object, and I get this object right here, you'll see that the content type of this thing doesn't have a content type associated with it. So one of the things that this program does, it needs to do something different if it's a directory versus it's an actual object that needs to be downloaded. So for the first thing, if there is a content type header, that means it's a directory. And so that means that the URI that I fetched is a directory. And then what I do is I parse the response for that directory listing, and then I do the update. If it's not in the URIs visited, and if it has the dot in it, then I append this into the URIs to visit. Okay, sorry about that, I got ahead of myself. If it does not have that, then this is an actual object that I need to store inside of my repo locally. And so this is what this particular piece of code does. This is an OS path name. It's basically going to take the current URI, strip off the slash, because I want to actually store the directory in my local directory. So I'm going to create a directory name out of the suffix. I'm going to take out the leading slash of the URI, and then all the subdirectories that follow it. I'm going to create a directory. I'm going to figure out what the directory name is. And then if that directory doesn't exist, I'm going to go and I'm going to create that directory. And that directory could be multiple slashes deep, but that's what this code is doing. And then what I am going to do is, once I've created that directory, I'm going to take the payload that I got, which is the response.content. I'm going to open up a file using the exact same name as I was given. So the file name part of this is what I'm going to be giving it. And then I'm going to open up this file. I'm going to create it. And I'm going to take the content that I downloaded, and I'm going to write it to this file, and then I'm going to close it. Okay. Are there any questions about this particular program? Does this program make sense that this is going to recursively download this Git repo? Okay, so then I'm going to run it. It's going to install beautiful soup. And it's going to download this repository. shouldn't be that long. All right, and then in the shell, you can see the results of your program. I may have already solved this before. Here. Sorry. This is what you should see. And then when you do an ls-a, you can see a .git directory. And so this now is a Git repo. So you can do Git status. And then you can see a Git history. Oh, actually, I didn't want to do Git restore. Git reset. Git back out. Sorry, I shouldn't have deleted those. Let me see what's in there. Admin.conf, admin panel.php. All right, let me see what's in there. I don't think I solved it before. All right, so this is getting some admin password out of the environment. And then admin panel is going to print out all of this. Yeah, build an amazing admin panel. But remember to check the password. And it's written in PHP. So yay, it's a PHP application. But one of the things you can do is do a git log. And of course, Carlos has been checking in code into this repository. And of course, this latest commit is remove the admin password. This pattern is something that you'll see again in this class. And so obviously this is the initial commit, and it added a skeleton admin panel, but then he had inserted his own admin password as part of the thing. So you can do a git checkout of a particular commit. So you just do a couple of the bytes of this. And then you can actually go to admin.conf, and then you can see this is the actual this was the initial password he committed. So let's copy that and then go back. And then log in as the administrator. And then now you're the administrator, and then you can go to this admin panel, and then you can delete Carlos, and then you can win the level. Okay, so that's the walkthrough of how you would solve levels. If you want to get started solving PortSwiggerLevels, if you're done with the web crawler lab, next week we'll be using the PortSwigger site to do all of the authentication levels. And I know some of you have already worked ahead, but like that's available to you.